Welcome to the Global War Watch Network. Forget traditional warfare. The true battle for global supremacy is being fought in data centers and research labs. The US-China AI race isn't just a competition, it's really a profound geopolitical earthquake. Understanding who wins this technological arms race is essential, truly essential, to understanding what kind of world your children will inherit. Today, we're unpacking the intense competition between the United States and China in artificial intelligence. This isn't just about technology. It's really about shifting global power, economic dominance, and, well, the very future of security and international relations. We'll explore the current battlegrounds in key AI sectors, the geopolitical ripples affecting alliances, the military implications, and what the future might hold, whether that's cooperation or, more confrontation. Get ready to explore the strategic landscape of tomorrow.
Indeed, and it's crucial to understand that this isn't just some simple tech rivalry. It's more fundamental. It's a reordering of global power. What's truly fascinating here, I think, is how AI has transformed. It went from this scientific concept, almost academic, into the ultimate strategic asset. It influences everything now, national security, economic policies, you name it. It's a really compelling narrative that demands our attention as its consequences, well, they're going to be felt globally, touching every corner of our interconnected world. 2, understanding the AI landscape, a new era of global competition.
Okay, so for centuries, global power was defined by, military might, economic dominance, territorial control. Pretty straightforward stuff, relatively speaking. These were the bedrock principles, understood by everyone. But the sources we've looked at suggest AI has fundamentally shifted these pillars. It feels like the very foundations of state power are being rewritten right before our eyes, almost quietly,
Golly.
with huge implications.
That's a crucial observation. It really highlights a paradigm shift. AI is now undeniably central to national strategies. Why? Because it offers this unprecedented potential to assert global dominance, to profoundly strengthen military capabilities, and to radically accelerate economic growth. Think about it. AI isn't just an incremental improvement. It's a multiplier. It amplifies existing strengths and creates entirely new ones. It enhances defense systems with the promise of autonomous warfare, where decisions can be made at machine speed, and sophisticated cyber defense that can identify and neutralize threats far faster than any human team ever could. On the economic front, it optimizes everything. Complex supply chains, intricate financial markets, driving efficiencies, opening new avenues for wealth. And crucially, it influences global policymaking. How? By providing predictive analytics, advanced intelligence, allowing nations to anticipate trends and react with, well, agility. We're talking about a tool that touches every single lever of national power. It fundamentally redefines what it means to be a global leader.
It's one thing to talk about this in theory, but what about real-world examples? Has this shift already shown up in current conflicts? Is it giving us a glimpse of this new era?
Absolutely, and in a deeply compelling, maybe even disturbing way. The ongoing Russian-Ukrainian conflict, for instance, it provides a stark, real-time illustration of AI's immediate and transformative impact. Here, cutting-edge technology, much of it provided by Western nations, has been a critical force. And this isn't just about providing weapons, you see. It's about providing AI-enhanced capabilities. We're talking advanced satellite imagery analysis that can track troop movements with incredible precision, AI-enhanced targeting for drones that identify and strike targets with, frankly, unprecedented accuracy, sophisticated communication networks maintaining situational awareness. These technologies have helped Ukraine, a smaller nation, hold its ground against a significantly larger rival. This isn't just about superior hardware. It's about superior information processing, rapid decision-making, strategic agility, all enabled by AI. It's a vivid demonstration that in modern asymmetric battles, AI can truly level the playing field. It makes technological prowess as critical as, maybe even more critical than, sheer troop numbers or traditional arms. It's truly a game changer we're witnessing unfold right now.
Wow. It sounds almost like a new kind of Cold War, but fought with algorithms and data instead of tanks and missiles. In fact, that term, AI Cold War, it emerged around 2018, didn't it? It paints this vivid picture of a new geopolitical competition, U.S. versus China. Not over nukes or ideology like before, but squarely over AI technology. It suggests a defining contest, maybe a digital space race for the 21st century. But where did this narrative really come from? Who are its key proponents? What sparked this framing?
That narrative, yeah, it gained significant traction following a very explicit, very ambitious declaration, China's 2017 AI Development Plan. That plan unequivocally stated China's ambition for global AI leadership by 2030, a clear public statement of national intent. And it sent ripples, serious ripples, through global strategic communities. Figures like former Google CEO Eric Schmidt became prominent proponents of this AI Cold War framing. They argued pretty vociferously that China's AI capabilities were advancing at an alarming pace, especially given its state-driven model and, that vast data access. This necessitated swift coordinated action, including forming alliances among democratic countries to maintain a competitive edge. Their arguments often highlight concerns about the potential for unethical uses of AI, particularly those associated with China's surveillance state and, frankly, its human rights record. So it frames this competition as a major ideological divide, open societies versus authoritarian regimes. For these proponents, it's not just about who develops the best tech, but about maintaining the value system underpinning that tech lead.
Okay, so it's about the tech, yes, but also the underlying values, the governance models. But this narrative, it isn't universally accepted, is it? Some observers raise serious concerns. They worry that framing it this way could have significant, maybe unintended, negative consequences, perhaps even make the situation worse. What are those counterarguments?
That's right. There's considerable pushback against the AI Cold War label. And it's important to understand the nuances here. Critics warn that this narrative, while maybe capturing some truth about the competition, could actually undermine crucial efforts. Efforts to establish global AI ethics, responsible governance frameworks, things we really need. By fostering an adversarial climate, it risks hindering essential international scientific collaboration that's often vital for breakthroughs benefiting everyone, like in medicine or climate modeling. Even more alarmingly, some argue it could become a self-fulfilling prophecy, escalating tensions, fueling a dangerous AI arms race we might ultimately lose control of, with potentially catastrophic outcomes. Some observers, maybe those with the more critical economic view, even suggest large tech companies might have a commercial interest in promoting this narrative.
A commercial interest. How so?
Well, using it as leverage, perhaps, to lobby governments for less regulation, maybe more research funding, or more permissive export policies for their own AI stuff. What's crucial for you, the listener, to consider is the potential for this binary confrontational framing to actually exacerbate existing tensions rather than encourage cooperation. And does this stark portrayal truly reflect the complex, interconnected reality of global AI? Where shared challenges like AI safety really demand collective, not fragmented solutions.
So on one hand, it's a necessary wake-up call. On the other, a potentially dangerous self-fulfilling prophecy that limits our ability to tackle shared global challenges. That's quite the dilemma. Now, while both nations are clearly committed to AI, their fundamental approaches seem quite different, almost like two distinct philosophical paths to achieving AI supremacy. Can you elaborate on these contrasting strategies?
Indeed, the divergence in their approaches is quite profound. It directly mirrors their broader economic and political systems, really. China's strategy is, well, it's a textbook example of centralized planning, state-directed industrial policy. It's characterized by massive, direct state funding channeled into specific, nationally prioritized AI projects. The development of national computing centers on an industrial scale to support these initiatives, and clear, ambitious national targets with deadlines. Their next-generation AI development plan from 2017, for instance, it isn't just aspirational. It meticulously maps out concrete goals. AI as a fundamental catalyst for economic change by 2025, and China as the indisputable global AI leader by 2030. This is top-down, meticulously coordinated. The state is the primary driver, the main investor.
And the U.S. approach, historically, that's been a different model, right? More reliant on private sector innovation.
Precisely. The U.S., conversely, has largely relied on its vibrant, competitive private sector, the Googles, Metas, NVIDIAs of the world. They've driven AI advancements. Innovation here tends to be more decentralized, market-driven, often spurred by academic research and venture capital. Government support, while significant in areas like defense research, foundational science, it's historically been more hands-off, fostering innovation through competition, intellectual property protections. It's more bottom-up, decentralized. However, this has shifted somewhat in recent years, particularly with the imposition of export controls aimed at China. That's direct government intervention in the market. And initiatives like the National AI Initiative Act of 2020, which tries to coordinate federal R&D efforts and invest in critical infrastructure. This difference in approach, state-led versus market-driven with increasing government intervention, it has profound implications for the speed, the direction, even the ethical frameworks emerging from AI development in both countries, it raises a compelling question. Which model is ultimately more sustainable? More effective in the long run for such a rapidly evolving, strategically vital technology. Each has strengths, each has weaknesses. Speed versus flexibility, maybe. Third, current battlefield. Key AI sectors. Semiconductor wars. The pivotal role of chip design and manufacturing.
Okay, let's dig into the battlefields.
Mm-hmm.
We often think of AI as software, in the cloud, ethereal. But the sources suggest the real tangible fight in this digital arms race is actually about hardware, specialized processors, AI chips. Can you explain why these physical components, these tiny bits of silicon, are so absolutely central?
That's a critical insight. It's where the rubber truly meets the road. These AI chips are the literal brains of any advanced AI system. Without them, no machine learning, no large language models like ChatGPT, no autonomous systems doing complex tasks. Nothing. They're built from essential base materials, high-purity silicon, aluminum, copper, gallium, germanium, palladium, rare earth elements like neodymium, cobalt. And what's particularly striking is that high-purity alumina HPA, which is critical for chip insulation for performance, is dominantly controlled by China.
Wow. So right from the raw materials, there's geopolitical leverage, strategic vulnerability.
Exactly, right from the earth itself. This isn't just high-tech manufacturing, it's fundamental resource control.
So it's the whole supply chain, mining to fabrication. And the manufacturing itself, making these cutting-edge chips, that's highly concentrated, isn't it? Adds another layer of risk.
It absolutely is concentrated, which adds another immense layer of vulnerability and strategic importance. The fabrication of these leading-edge chips. Incredibly complex. Needs astronomical capital investment, depends on highly specialized, often proprietary equipment. And this manufacturing capability is concentrated predominantly in East Asia. Taiwan's TSMC, for instance, is the undisputed global leader in advanced semiconductor manufacturing. They produce chips for major American companies, NVIDIA, AMD, Apple, pretty much powering much of the world's advanced computing.
So that concentration in Taiwan.
It's a huge deal. That geographic concentration, coupled with China's material dominance and its own rapidly accelerating domestic advancements, means a semiconductor Cold War isn't just heating up, it's already here. It's shaping global stability, economic security, in ways we're only beginning to fully grasp. The vulnerability of this supply chain is, frankly, a top concern for governments everywhere.
Given this critical dependency, especially on Taiwan, what has the U.S. done to maintain its lead, manage this complex chain? It sounds like they're trying to put brakes on China's progress, but it must be a delicate balancing act.
The U.S. has indeed tried to maintain its dominance and safeguard security interests through a multi-pronged, pretty aggressive approach. This includes imposing stringent export controls, tariffs on advanced AI chip tech, critical manufacturing equipment heading to China. A prime example, restrictions on extreme ultraviolet, EUV, lithography tools, absolutely essential for next-gen semiconductors. These incredibly sophisticated machines are made by just one company, ASML in the Netherlands, making it a key choke point.
So restricting access to those tools is a direct attempt to cap China's most advanced chip making.
Effectively, yes. And in a notable shift under a recent trade policy, companies like NVIDIA and AMD have even reached agreements. They pay the U.S. government 15% of their AI chip revenue from sales to China for special export licenses.
Wait, 15%? That's significant.
It is. This unique revenue sharing illustrates the delicate balance the U.S. is trying to strike, protecting national interests versus capitalizing on the lucrative Chinese market. The core insight here is that these actions, while designed to slow China, inherently push them towards greater self-sufficiency, towards indigenous innovation, potentially accelerating their long-term capabilities.
That's fascinating about the revenue sharing. So how has China responded to these restrictions? You're suggesting it might be pushing them to innovate domestically even faster, creating a sort of hothouse for their own tech.
You've hit on a critical point. It's a central paradox of these policies. While intended to hinder China, the controls have had mixed effects. Arguably, in some areas, a profound, maybe unintended acceleration. They've unequivocally prompted China to intensify efforts, scaling up domestic semiconductor production, aggressively reducing reliance on U.S. tech. We've seen significant breakthroughs. Huawei, for example, unveiled its 7-nanometer Kirin 9000 and Ascend 910 AI processor series.
7 nanometer, that's a big deal, right? That was supposed to be hard for them without Western tech.
Yeah, exactly. Achieving that is a critical benchmark for advanced chips. It signals a major leap in China's indigenous capabilities that many observers thought was years away. And it's not just one company. Firms like Byron, More Threads, they've intensified R&D too. designing and making chips specifically for AI, often with massive state backing. China's colossal state-backed fund, the Big Fund, is pouring capital into cultivating an entirely indigenous semiconductor industry, achieving self-sufficiency, or dual circulation as they call it. This relentless push has also forced Chinese AI companies to innovate more efficiently with available resources, sometimes restricted ones, leading to surprising breakthroughs. Like DeepSeek's open source model. When it came out in January 2025, it caught many by surprise. Exceptional performance, great cost ratio, even surpassed some prominent US models despite being smaller, cheaper to train.
So the restrictions might actually be accelerating their long-term innovation, making them potentially a tougher competitor down the line.
That's the unexpected takeaway, potentially. US restrictions create short-term obstacles. They cost China dearly, no doubt. But they might actually be accelerating China's long-term indigenous innovation and resilience. It's a complex outcome.
And where does Europe fit into this semiconductor race? Are they aligning firmly with one side? Or charting their own course, trying for some kind of tech sovereignty?
Europe is definitely charting a unique path. They're calling it chip sovereignty rather than direct trade confrontation. They recognize their own strategic vulnerabilities. While home to major players like Infineon, STMicroelectronics, global foundries essential for automotive, industrial chips, Europe has historically lagged in the leading node AI processors, the really advanced stuff. To address this, they launched the ambitious EU Chips Act in early 2022, backed by substantial state funding, about 30 billion euros in subsidies. These funds are explicitly designed to build indigenous chip design and fabrication capabilities, and to attract foreign investment. Germany, for instance, is set to host one of the most advanced semiconductor fabrication plants outside the US, a significant move to bolster Europe's role, reduce reliance.
But can they really catch up given the head start Asia has?
Well, the sheer scale of these initiatives still falls short compared to Asia's chip giants, Taiwan and South Korea especially. They have decades of head start, vast existing infrastructure. There are also concerns about potential protectionism in these subsidy regimes. A global subsidies race to the bottom, where countries just throw money at chip plants. So Europe is aiming for strategic autonomy, definitely. But it's a monumental challenge against established, globally dominant players. Their success still remains to be seen. Data and algorithms, fueling AI development.
Okay, so controlling the chips, the hardware, that's one critical layer. Then the digital fuel for these chips, the data, the algorithms that process it, that becomes the next vital battlefield, right? How do the US and China stack up there, especially in volume and strategic leverage?
Absolutely. Data is the new oil, algorithms are the refineries. Access to vast, diverse data sets and superior, efficient models is crucial. And this is an area where China has a massive, often overlooked advantage. Just in terms of sheer scale, they generate 4 times as many STEM graduates annually as the US, an enormous growing pool of researchers, engineers. More importantly, they have an equally vast, relatively unrestricted pool of data, especially from their highly digitized society where data collection is, well, ubiquitous. In 2022 alone, China accounted for a whopping 61.1% of global AI patent origins.
61%. That's staggering. It signals a huge innovation pipeline.
It really does. A rapid accumulation of intellectual property across various AI applications. This isn't just generating ideas, it's about owning and controlling the fundamental building blocks of future AI.
Okay, that's a massive lead in quantity in patents. But the US still holds an edge in certain cutting-edge areas, generative AI, for instance, so it's not purely a numbers game.
Yes, that's precisely where the picture gets more nuanced. The qualitative advantage of the US becomes apparent there. The US currently holds a clear edge in generative AI. Companies like OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, Meta are leading the development of large language models, LLMs, the things driving applications like ChatGPT. They're at the forefront of this current AI revolution. And look at the talent. In 2022, a remarkable 57% of elite AI researchers, the ones publishing at top conferences, the global leaders, worked in the US.
57% worked in the US compared to just 12% in China.
Right. So while China has the volume of graduates and patents, the US still attracts and retains a significant concentration of the world's absolute top-tier talent. And it's leading in certain foundational model developments, cutting-edge research paradigms. It's not just numbers, it's about research quality, breakthroughs, attracting and keeping the best minds.
It seems like there's this dynamic interplay, especially with open source models becoming so prevalent. Could these actually help China narrow the gap, even with restrictions, by giving them a shortcut?
That's a fascinating, somewhat ironic twist. A true double-edged sword. Paradoxically, US-developed open-source AI models, like Meta's very popular Llama series, have actually inadvertently helped Chinese companies narrow that gap. By providing powerful, pre-trained architectures, weights, that are freely available, these models allow Chinese firms to leverage existing cutting-edge foundations without building everything from scratch, which is incredibly costly, time-consuming.
So it cuts their R&D costs, speeds up their progress.
Significantly, it allows them to rapidly iterate, customize.
Can you give a concrete example of this in action, where open source really made a difference for China?
Certainly. That DeepSeek AI startup I mentioned earlier. In January 2025, they released an open-source LLM that genuinely caught many by surprise. Its performance, its cost ratio exceptional, showed how efficiently they could develop powerful models. It even surpassed models from some prominent US AI companies in certain benchmarks. Despite being smaller, much cheaper to train, this isn't just Chinese ingenuity in isolation, it's strategic adoption. Mastery of open source resources shows their ability to outmaneuver rivals even when facing hardware restrictions. Chinese firms like Baidu, Alibaba, Tencent are increasingly embracing open source, more coordinated, strategically driven, not just for domestic use, but global reach. This could, long-term, erode U.S. leadership by enabling Chinese companies to capture global market share, user loyalty with high-performing, accessible models.
So the very openness that fuels American innovation can also accelerate its competitors. That's a complex strategic dilemma.
It really is.
But despite their advancements, their sheer volume of data, are there inherent vulnerabilities for China in data and algorithms? Things that could hold them back?
Yes, absolutely. And this is a critical, often understated weakness. Despite impressive progress and vast data pools, China faces a significant fundamental challenge rooted in its political system,
Which is?
its strict internet censorship protocols. This could lead to biased or limited data for training large language models. A heavily censored internet inherently restricts the diversity, scope, and unbiased nature of data sources available for AI training.
And that's not just a philosophical issue, it has practical impacts.
Profound practical implications. If your models are trained on a skewed, incomplete, or ideologically filtered view of the world, they might struggle to generalize effectively, especially to a broader global context. This could impact the quality, applicability, even the fairness of their AI systems, potentially limiting their global appeal and effectiveness in areas needing nuanced understanding of diverse cultures, perspectives, uncensored information. It's a critical weakness. Could affect the long-term robustness, creativity, adaptability of their AI, particularly for applications outside their tightly controlled domestic environment. See talent and research, the global competition for AI scientists.
Okay, so you have the hardware, the data, but ultimately you need the people, right? The
Yeah.
human talent,
Yeah.
the brilliant minds to make it all work, to innovate, push boundaries, translate raw materials into revolutionary tech. What's the situation there? The global competition for AI scientists, engineers. It sounds like a global talent grab is underway.
It absolutely is. This is where the human element is paramount. The true, irreplaceable engine of AI progress. The global competition for top AI scientists and engineers is exceptionally fierce, like a modern-day gold rush for intellect. China, with its enormous population, generates a staggering 4 times as many STEM graduates annually as the US.
4 times.
4 times. That sheer volume, combined with strong, sustained government support for its R&D sector, provides an incredibly deep, rapidly growing talent pool. Elite research institutions like Tsinghua, Peking universities are direct competitors to leading U.S. institutions and corporate labs. Google AI, Stanford, MIT, Carnegie Mellon. Not just attracting students, but producing cutting-edge, publishable AI research that advances the global state-of-the-art. This strategic emphasis on domestic talent development retention is a core pillar of China's long-term AI strategy, aiming for self-sufficiency and expertise.
And how has the U.S. historically attracted and retained this talent, especially with this global competition? It's traditionally been a huge strength for the U.S., drawing in the best from everywhere.
You're absolutely right. A historic strength, a cornerstone of American innovation. The U.S. has excelled at attracting top STEM talent from abroad for decades, and this advantage is particularly clear in AI. A significant portion of its elite AI researchers, the ones at the forefront, were actually educated in China before choosing to work in the U.S.
Really? Educated in China, working in the U.S.?
Yes. For example, in 2022, while 26% of the world's top AI researchers originally came from China and 28% from the U.S., a remarkable 57% of these elite researchers actually worked in the U.S.
Wow, so that brain gain has been critical.
Critical. It's been a pillar of American AI leadership. fueling its dynamic innovation ecosystems like Silicon Valley, contributing to breakthroughs. It's a testament to the attraction of American universities, research institutions, its tech industry.
So the U.S. benefits massively from this global talent flow. But are there emerging risks to this advantage, maybe from shifting policies, a more restrictive environment? Could the U.S. be inadvertently jeopardizing its own talent pipeline?
This is where things get really complex and potentially, well, self-sabotaging for the U.S. There are growing concerns about the impact of recent U.S. policies, particularly those affecting the movement of foreign talent. We've seen actions like the Trump administration's sudden revocation, then reinstatement of 1,800 student visas back in April 2025, and broader, more aggressive efforts to revoke visas of Chinese students and researchers specifically in critical, sensitive fields.
Justified on national security grounds, usually.
Usually, yes. But critics argue they risk severely undermining U.S. AI leadership by deterring foreign talent more broadly, creating an atmosphere of uncertainty, making people feel unwelcome.
So instead of securing an advantage, these policies could ironically push away the very talent that's historically been its strength.
Yeah.
It's a profound strategic paradox.
Precisely. These policies could inadvertently shift the competitive edge to China, which is actively working not just to retain its own top talent, generous funding, career opportunities, but also to actively divert international talent to its institutions, portraying itself as open, welcoming for scientific research. By closing doors or creating an unwelcoming environment, even for a subset of foreign students, researchers, the U.S. risks losing access to the very minds that propelled its tech dominance, contributed to its vibrant research ecosystem. This raises an important, maybe provocative question for you to consider. Can the U.S. truly maintain its talent advantage in AI if it restricts the free flow of brilliant foreign-born scientists? Especially when global competition for these minds is at an all-time high. It's a strategic paradox with profound long-term consequences for national innovation, competitiveness. 4. Geopolitical ripples, shifting alliances and standards. Tech blocks forming. How the U.S. is pushing allies to decouple.
Okay, so this intense competition for chips, data, talent, it isn't just U.S. versus China in a vacuum, is it? It's creating much broader geopolitical shifts, almost fracturing the world. We're seeing the U.S. actively engaging its allies, almost pushing them to take sides, redefine their tech allegiances. It sounds like the world is starting to fragment into distinct technological blocks.
That's an astute observation, and it's arguably one of the most significant geopolitical developments of our time. The intensifying rivalry is indeed actively fragmenting the global landscape. The U.S. is quite deliberately pushing its allies to decouple from Chinese technology, especially in sensitive sectors, 5G infrastructure, advanced semiconductors, now broader AI applications. The aim is clear: foster distinct, mutually compatible AI ecosystems among democratic allies, essentially creating a tech bloc that excludes or minimizes reliance on China. This strategy compels smaller nations, even major powers like Germany or Japan, to make incredibly difficult choices, aligning with one superpower or the other based on a complex calculus, economic dependencies, tech aspirations, strategic security needs. It's a profound reorientation of global alliances, supply chains.
So it's not just about what tech they use, but whose standards they adopt, whose supply chains they plug into, even whose values they implicitly endorse. What are the broader implications of this decoupling push for global stability, economic integration?
The implications are profound, far-reaching. What you're witnessing is the rapid emergence of two parallel digital ecosystems, each with its own supply chains, tech standards, data governance norms, even underlying philosophical approaches to technology. Some observers are already calling this a new world order, explicitly departing from the unipolar, globally integrated system that largely prevailed after the Cold War, where globalization was the dominant force.
Like the AUKUS Pact, is that an example?
AUKUS between Australia, the UK, and the US is a prime example. It isn't just about nuclear-powered submarines. It's a foundational agreement for deep technological collaboration, including AI. It effectively solidifies a Western tech bloc, sets precedents for future integrated defense capabilities. This fragmentation creates significant challenges for international relations, global trade, potential for technological interoperability. It also means nations choosing one bloc over another could find themselves with increasingly incompatible tech infrastructures, complicating everything from trade negotiations to joint military exercises. It's a strategic bifurcation that could endure for decades. Be neutral nations caught in the middle, balancing innovation and geopolitics.
It sounds like an incredibly difficult, almost impossible position for countries trying to stay neutral in this growing tech divide, caught between two powerful competing tech giants, each with immense leverage. How are these nations navigating such treacherous waters?
It absolutely is an unenviable position, demands exceptional diplomatic skill, strategic foresight. Many nations find themselves in an acute dilemma, genuinely trying to balance their innate desire for tech innovation, economic growth, which often means access to the best global tech with the immense geopolitical pressures from both the US and China. While the US and China undeniably dominate the global AI power rankings, countries like the UK, Canada, France, Singapore, India, South Korea, Israel, they're not mere spectators. They're proactively positioning themselves as significant contributors in AI, investing heavily in domestic R&D, devising sophisticated strategies to close the gap, carve out their own niches, maybe in specialized AI applications or ethical governance models, seeking technological sovereignty rather than simply choosing allegiance.
So not just choosing sides, but trying to build their own capabilities, maintain agency. How does this play out for a country like Russia? They've often sought to project tech strength, but now face a different reality.
Russia serves as a particularly stark, maybe cautionary, tale here. It has long aspired to be an AI leader, recognizing its strategic importance. But its initiatives have been severely impeded. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine has diverted immense financial human resources, starving its domestic AI sector. And crucially, pervasive US and Western sanctions have ruthlessly cut off access to advanced chips, essential manufacturing equipment, even key software and talent from global markets.
But sanctions have really hampered their AI ambitions.
Drastically, pushing them further behind. This global ripple effect truly forces strategic decisions that impact not only international relations, military power, but a nation's long-term economic and technological viability. Countries are grappling with fundamental questions. Where to source foundational tech without geopolitical penalties? Whom to align with for research partnerships? Critically, how to avoid losing their own tech sovereignty? It's a high-stakes balancing act with immense lasting consequences. C, the race for AI standards. Who sets the rules?
With such powerful, pervasive technology like AI, the implications stretch far beyond just military or economic competition. Who ultimately gets to set the rules? For its global governance, its ethical use, its fundamental safety, this seems like a critical, almost foundational, battle for influence over the future of AI itself, determining the very values embedded in these systems.
This truly is a critical battleground, perhaps one of the most significant for humanity's future. The stakes are incredibly high. The nation or bloc that defines these standards will likely shape the global trajectory of AI development, its societal impact for decades. The European Union, often taking a lead in regulatory matters through its landmark EU AI Act, is emerging as a significant reference point in this global discourse. It showcases a comprehensive, risk-based regulatory approach, categorizing AI systems by risk level, imposing stricter requirements on high-risk applications like in critical infrastructure, law enforcement. It's being closely watched, often emulated globally as a potential blueprint.
And what about the US and China? How are they approaching this crucial area of standards and governance? Are they also trying to lead or reacting to Europe?
Both the US and China are very much active in this space, each trying to project its own vision for AI governance. The US, for its part, through initiatives like the US AI Safety Institute, the proposed Future of AI Innovation Act, is focused on advancing AI safety science, setting international standards, forming alliances with like-minded countries for common standards, risk management frameworks. There's a strong emphasis on fostering responsible innovation while also addressing potential catastrophic risks, often from a technologically optimistic yet cautious perspective. China, not to be outdone, keen to assert its global influence, has also introduced its Global AI Governance Initiative. They express a desire to promote tiered testing systems based on AI risk levels somewhat similar to the EU's idea, and advocate for equal access to AI tech for all countries within a UN framework. This pushes for a more multilateral, less bloc-oriented approach, positioning China as a champion for developing nations in the AI space.
So despite all the intense competition, the talk of tech blocs, there's actually a nascent area of potential cooperation here, particularly around the dangers of advanced AI, a sense that some risks transcend national rivalries.
Remarkably, yes. And this is a source of cautious optimism. In a rare but highly significant moment of alignment in November 2023, the US, China, and 27 other nations signed the Bletchley Declaration. At the first AI Safety Summit in the UK, this declaration explicitly acknowledged shared safety risks at the frontier of AI, including existential threats.
That's huge. US and China agreeing on shared risks.
It is. It highlights a nascent but critically important area of potential cooperation, acknowledging that some challenges, particularly those related to extreme risks of advanced AI, transcend national rivalries. They require common understanding, shared commitment. It begs the question, Can these shared concerns about AI safety bridge some of the divides created by economic and military competition? The surprising insight here is that while they compete fiercely, both nations recognize a common, potentially species-level threat from uncontrolled AI, which might become a stronger catalyst for collaboration than any pursuit of competitive advantage. It's a delicate balance between rivalry and recognizing a shared peril. V, military and security implications. A, autonomous weapon systems. AI revolutionizing warfare.
Okay, let's shift to the military side. The impact of AI on military capabilities is, well, maybe one of the most immediate and concerning aspects of this competition. We're talking about a complete transformation of modern warfare, moving beyond traditional battlefields into realms previously only imagined in science fiction, fundamentally changing the nature of conflict itself.
Absolutely. The war in Ukraine has already provided a stark, vivid demonstration of how AI, particularly through AI-enhanced drones, can be weaponized with devastating effect. Precision targeting, minimizing collateral damage, coordinated swarm attacks, overwhelming defenses, real-time battlefield intelligence providing unparalleled situational awareness. AI is already on the front lines, literally. Nations excelling in AI for defense gain an undeniable, significant strategic advantage in national security. This ranges from developing highly sophisticated autonomous warfare systems, where machines can make decisions with or without human intervention, to robust, adaptive cyber defense mechanisms that constantly learn, evolve against new threats. The speed, the scale are truly unprecedented.
And China is clearly leaning into this, not just with tech, but with a specific overarching military doctrine to guide its integration.
Indeed. China's People's Liberation Army, the PLA, has adopted a doctrine they call intelligentized warfare. Their explicit aim: fully integrate AI and autonomy across all domains of warfare, land, sea, air, space, cyber, to compete, deter, and ultimately defeat adversaries. This isn't just conceptual. It involves heavy, systematic investment in AI-driven autonomous systems. Advanced drones for long-range reconnaissance, strike, robotic platforms for ground ops, reducing human risk, even AI-powered logistics optimizing supply lines. Their strategic thinking is deeply rooted in the notion that modern warfare is fundamentally a contest of systems. They view AI as the crucial systemic military edge, one that could potentially allow them to leapfrog U.S. capabilities in certain areas, particularly in a potential conflict in the Indo-Pacific.
So we're talking far more than just drones.
Yeah.
AI integrated across every military domain, creating entirely new forms of combat, requiring a complete rethink of defense strategies.
Yes, far beyond just drones. This is where it gets particularly unsettling, raising profound ethical strategic questions. China, for instance, has incorporated AI into its naval operations, particularly in the highly contested South China Sea. This includes developing, deploying autonomous submarines, conducting long-duration surveillance, even specific missions without human crews, smart mines discriminating targets using AI, surveillance drones providing persistent, real-time intel to observe, potentially counter foreign military actions. This represents a significant shift in maritime power projection, naval strategy, creating a truly automated battle space.
And the U.S. is also responding in kind, right? It's not a one-sided race.
Absolutely. The U.S. has its own ambitious replicator initiative, a prime example of its strategic response. This program is specifically designed to field large numbers of uninhabited systems on or under the sea, in the air, on the ground for the Department of Defense. AI is expected to contribute significantly to its goals within 5 years, primarily in areas like intelligence processing, sophisticated data analysis, complex battle management scenarios where AI coordinates multiple assets, orchestration of vast robotic swarms that can overwhelm enemy defenses.
So the future of warfare is clearly being reshaped by AI.
Undeniably, with a relentless focus on automating, optimizing, accelerating critical military functions, raising profound questions about the nature of future conflicts, the threshold for engagement. We are moving into an era where human-machine teaming, even machine-on-machine combat, will be a reality, be cyber warfare and intelligence, enhancing offensive and defensive capabilities.
How does AI factor into the less visible but equally critical areas? Cyber warfare, intelligence, these are the hidden battles fought every day, often beneath the radar, but with immense strategic importance.
This is a silent but incredibly active battlefield where AI is truly indispensable, acting as both sword and shield. AI significantly enhances both offensive and defensive cyber capabilities, as well as intelligence gathering, to an extent previously unimaginable. On the defensive side, AI emerges as a frontline defender against the numerous, constantly evolving waves of cyber attacks. It has the capacity to identify, anticipate, neutralize these threats in real time, far outpacing human analysts who'd be overwhelmed by the volume sophistication. This drastically strengthens states' defense strategies, making critical infrastructure, power grids, financial networks more resilient.
And for intelligence gathering, where the sheer volume of data can be overwhelming for humans, AI must be a game changer.
For intelligence, AI's raw processing power is simply revolutionary, moving us into an era of pervasive automated awareness. Consider automatically processing satellite imagery of the entire Earth's surface multiple times a day, a task far beyond human capacity by traditional means. Machine learning is indispensable here. It allows automated tracking of military movements, locations, identifying strategic assets, monitoring economic activity, providing crucial, near real-time awareness of global events. This transforms intelligence from slow, manual, into continuous, automated, predictive, giving nations an unparalleled informational advantage. AI spots patterns, anomalies humans would easily miss.
So in intense periods of conflict, when decisions need to be made in milliseconds under immense pressure, how crucial is AI's role in processing this data torrent, enabling rapid responses? Human decision-making alone sounds insufficient.
In such high-stress, real-time scenarios, AI becomes truly indispensable for processing data, battle management. Imagine defending against a coordinated barrage of hundreds, maybe thousands, of missiles and drones launched simultaneously. Coordinating defenses, identifying threats, prioritizing targets, allocating interceptors, optimizing flight paths against such a massive, multifaceted attack, likely entirely beyond human capacity, requires split-second decisions, optimal resource allocation. AI can figure out, in real time, how to handle salvos nearing targets simultaneously, providing a critical decision advantage, meaning the difference between effective defense and devastating impact. While China's cyber power has sometimes been exaggerated, their focus on integrating AI here is incredibly intense, aiming to vastly enhance capabilities for both offensive cyber ops finding vulnerabilities and defensive ones, making them an increasingly formidable player in this digital shadow war. See deterrence and escalation, the dangers of an AI arms race.
This sounds incredibly precarious. Both sides developing advanced AI for military use, cyber warfare. What are the specific risks of such an AI arms race? Especially with autonomous decision-making in warfare, the potential for miscalculation, given AI's speed.
The dangers are indeed profound. They raise the potential for miscalculation, unintended escalation to truly unprecedented levels. This isn't just about faster weapons. It's a fundamental change in the tempo, the control of conflict. Experts in both the US and China express strong concern about extreme AI risks. This includes developing artificial general intelligence, AGI AI that can do any intellectual task a human can, intelligence explosions where AI rapidly self-improves beyond human comprehension, and ultimately AI systems escaping human control, self-replicating, even actively deceiving human operators.
These are just science fiction fears.
No, these are concrete concerns discussed by leading technical policy figures in both nations who understand the tech's full implications. There's a deeply shared fear of AI being misused to create biological, chemical, cyber, even nuclear weapons, posing what many describe as catastrophic or even existential risks to humanity.
That's chilling. These shared fears of existential risks, transcending national rivalries, is there any common ground? Any glimmer of cooperation between the two powers on these extreme risks? Or a complete standoff here, too?
This is perhaps one of the most critical and surprisingly hopeful areas. Interestingly, in that rare but significant alignment, the US and China released that joint statement pledging to maintain human control over the decision to use nuclear weapons.
That specific commitment seems key.
Highly significant. It indicates a shared recognition of the gravest dangers, a potential avenue for establishing new frameworks for stability. Explicitly acknowledging AI shouldn't be on the button for nuclear command and control shows a baseline understanding that some lines, especially concerning global annihilation, simply cannot be crossed by machines. However, beyond their direct strategic rivalry, both nations face a shared growing threat. From rogue states, non-state actors who may be far more willing to exploit AI without restraint, without regard for global stability. Unlike nuclear tech, incredibly difficult, costly to acquire, monitor AI is far more accessible, often open source, significantly harder to monitor its proliferation, making this a complex, pervasive challenge, one that necessitates broader international cooperation to prevent high-risk AI capabilities reaching irresponsible actors. The surprising insight here, the shared, potentially species-level threat of uncontrolled AI might become a stronger catalyst for collaboration than any pursuit of competitive advantage, forcing rivals to find common ground in self-preservation. The future, scenarios and global impact. A, cooperation or confrontation. Exploring pathways for global AI challenges.
Okay, so given these immense stakes, economic dominance, military power, potential existential risks, is there any realistic possibility for meaningful collaboration between the US and China on AI? Or are we destined for perpetual, intensifying competition across all fronts? It's hard to imagine a completely isolated tech future for either, given how interconnected we are.
You've highlighted the central, overarching question of our era concerning AI. While competition is undoubtedly intense, deeply entrenched across many sectors, sources suggest there are viable pathways for potential collaboration on truly global AI challenges that transcend national rivalries. Think about areas like climate change modeling, predicting weather, optimizing renewable energy grids, accelerating medical discoveries, health innovations, drug development, disease diagnostics, boosting biomanufacturing for sustainable resources. These are massive, complex challenges. No single nation can effectively tackle them alone, and AI offers powerful, indispensable tools for finding solutions.
So it's about finding areas of mutual interest that, in their scope and urgency, transcend the immediate rivalry, creating a compelling reason to work together.
Exactly. The shared vulnerability to extreme AI risks, particularly from rogue actors who don't share the same rational calculus or responsibility as nation states, should compel both powers to act in parallel, if not in direct cooperation. A more nuanced policy approach could involve carefully restricting military AI applications through international agreements, monitoring while actively allowing open collaboration in non-military R&D. This fosters transparency, helps establish international standards for responsible AI use, mitigates shared risks, prevents dangerous miscalculations with global repercussions. The key question for you to ponder is, can a strategy of managed competition, carefully coupled with selective cooperation on these critical global challenges, ultimately advance global AI progress more effectively, more safely than continued complete technological decoupling, which risks hindering overall innovation, duplicating efforts, making the world more fragmented, more dangerous for everyone? It requires a level of strategic foresight, political will, that's historically been challenging between major rivals. But the stakes have never been higher. B, impact on developing nations, exacerbating inequalities or offering new opportunities.
How will this intense US-China AI race affect the broader global community, especially developing nations, already grappling with significant challenges? Will it primarily exacerbate existing inequalities, create a deeper digital divide, or could it surprisingly offer new opportunities for them to leapfrog technologically, achieve progress?
This is a crucial question, and the answer, unfortunately, is complex. Could very well be both, depending on how these trends are managed. On one hand, there's significant concern the AI race could profoundly exacerbate existing inequalities. Some economists worry AI-driven automation, particularly in manufacturing, service sectors, could cause widespread unemployment, hitting particularly hard in poorer countries, regions like North and Sub-Saharan Africa, West Asia, where over 35% of the population might miss out on AI's benefits by 2070. This isn't just job displacement. It could lead to what some observers provocatively call cyber colonization.
Cyber colonization, what did that mean exactly?
A scenario where data from the global south, from individuals, communities, is harvested, monetized by powerful tech companies in the US and China, without equitable remuneration or benefit to its proprietors, deepening existing economic disparities, creating new forms of digital dependency. It's a very real risk. The rich get richer, the poor left further behind, trapped in a new digital disadvantage.
So not just a digital divide, but potentially a new form of digital exploitation. Resources extracted without fair compensation. But surely there's a positive side. Ways developing nations could genuinely benefit, even accelerate development.
Yes, absolutely. AI isn't just a force for potential inequality or exploitation. It also holds immense potential to boost global wealth, create entirely new opportunities for developing nations. For instance, AI-powered mobile banking apps could revolutionize financial services for millions of unbanked populations in Latin America, Africa, providing access to formal financial systems, credit, the broader economic pool, empowering individuals, small businesses, driving financial inclusion, local economic development in ways previously impossible. Beyond finance, AI can also aid in crucial areas like disaster prediction, early warning systems, optimizing agricultural yields through precision farming, vastly improving remote healthcare delivery in underserved regions through AI diagnostics, teleconsultations. However, realizing this positive potential, ensuring a just, equal world in the context of AI, demands concerted, proactive efforts. From regional international forums, we need policies addressing fairness, promoting equal access to technology, building local capacities for AI development, ethical deployment, preventing benefits concentrating in just a few hands or nations. The challenge is immense, but so is the opportunity for transformative, positive change if managed responsibly, inclusively. See what comes next. Analyzing long-term societal and political shifts.
Ultimately, as we look to the horizon, maybe decades ahead, what kind of long-term societal political shifts should we really anticipate if one nation, US or China, gains a truly decisive AI lead? This feels like the most profound question of all, shaping the very fabric of human experience, how we live, work, govern ourselves.
If one nation were to gain such a decisive AI lead, it wouldn't just be a marginal tech advantage. It would fundamentally reshape economic power, military strength, influence over global norms, standards. For not just decades, potentially for centuries. Consider China's explicit emphasis on new productive forces, not just economic jargon. It's Xi Jinping's ambitious state-backed strategy to usher in a paradigm shift in China's favor. Leveraging AI, advanced manufacturing, biotech to sustain high economic growth, secure its central, unassailable position in the world economy, creating a future where China is the technological, economic gravitational center, establishing its own standards, norms globally. AI in this vision is rapidly advancing, becoming a general-purpose, ubiquitous technology in daily life, akin to electricity or the internet. It will permeate every single aspect of society: how we work, learn, communicate, how governments govern, how militaries operate, becoming intrinsically woven into the fabric of human civilization.
This level of integration sounds like it would profoundly impact society, changing everything from how we work to how we interact with information, even our sense of reality, individual agency.
It absolutely will, leading to shifts almost unfathomable in scope. Sources indicate we urgently need to consider, perhaps forge, a new social contract to tackle these disruptive technologies safely, ethically, before they outpace our ability to control them. We're talking about AI's potential to not just influence, but deeply penetrate, steer individual and group human behaviors, potentially blurring lines, electability through hyper-personalized propaganda, micro-targeting, fundamentally changing the very notion of democracy, human rights, through pervasive surveillance, sophisticated data manipulation. Deepfakes, highly advanced surveillance tech, are already reshaping the fabric of our realities, raising profound anxieties about losing control to algorithmic revolutions operating beyond human oversight. The international community, through organizations like the UN, regional forums, grassroots initiatives, faces a generational responsibility to guide this transformative force. The goal must be to ensure it serves the common good, upholds human dignity, prevents global instability. The provocative thought I want to leave you with is this: as AI continues its relentless advance, will we as a global society prioritize the collective human future over nationalistic technological supremacy, or will we allow this powerful tool to deepen divisions and fundamentally alter what it means to be human? That is the ultimate question facing us all. Archer,
The US-China AI race is far more than just a competition. It's a profound shift in global power that will shape the world you and your children live in. From the hidden battles in semiconductor factories and the quest for data dominance to the profound ethical questions of AI governance and the future of warfare, this technological arms race demands our understanding and engagement. We hope this discussion has given you some valuable insights into this critical global contest. Thank you for your time and participation. If you found this discussion informative, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to Global War Watch Network. We'd also love to hear your thoughts, so share them in the comment section below and join us on social media. The links are provided in the description.